It's stories time. Story experiences. Just moments in my tennis career that I would like to share, and this is in connection with the last session I uploaded on to young students. I mean young students to young coaches and or new and up and coming coaches, and just grinding, putting hours into it. Um, I didn't get into tennis coaching because of interest. Well, I mean, I was interested in the sport. I was playing for the school at the time, and when I started my sophomore year, I came across like throughout my whole life, I've just stumbled across just amazing people along the way. And my mentor, he became a mentor, my coach. He offered me to coach me for free, and there would be days that we would wake up at 6, 7 a.m. and get to the tennis court and we start working, and it was great. Like it was thanks to him that I was able to develop the game that I have now. And he at the time was working at a racket club. So that summer, we were working together. He asked if I wanted to go into the tennis club and do summer camp, right? Just a couple hours because they needed help, and I didn't say no. I was like, yeah, of course, why not? I don't know what I was getting myself into. I just an experience, and I wanted to do it. So I got in. I was doing summer camp hours for like the first 2 weeks. I got paid a decent amount because obviously in the tennis world, it's you're fortunate enough to be in it and be compensated for it. It's definitely above minimum wage when it comes to sports, even doing summer camp hours. So I continued working throughout the summer camp, but after those 2 weeks, as the time went on, for the next maybe month and a half, I didn't receive any compensation. I didn't ask for anything. I spoke to my coach about it, and he said, you know what, let's wait till the end of the summer. Maybe we'll give you something then. The end of the summer came, nothing happened, and then when we finally brought it up to management, to the owner and the director, their story their story was, oh, we thought he was just volunteering. And I mean, I didn't say anything at the moment. I didn't say. I just kept my mouth shut and I just listened. And my coach said something on the lines I mean, he's not volunteering. He's coming in here to do some hours. Because if he was gonna do something and not get compensated for it, it that just didn't make sense, right? Like nobody wants to do something for free, and that's what they thought, or that's what their story was. So they ended up not paying me for that month and a half, but instead they offered me a job, and I believe they offered me a few group hours. I think maybe about it was like at least 2.5 on Fridays, 2.5 on Saturdays, and I think that was it, if I remember correctly. Because Fridays and Saturdays were heavy on academy hours. So I was doing about 5 hours a week, and they also asked me if I wanted to be a receptionist, and I was like, okay, yeah. So I said yes to those hours, and I said yes to receptionist, and I must have done that. I don't know. I don't know how long I was doing that kind of work. I think I must have done that for 3 years as a receptionist and coach. But obviously, as the years went on, I got really lucky. One of the coaches that was working there at the time, he was a little bit out of sorts at times, and he wouldn't show up to his lessons. He wouldn't even call to cancel or call anybody. He just wouldn't show up. And so he got canned, and then his lessons were given to me, and I was fortunate to to be in that position because I didn't have another coach, and they asked me, "All right, do you want to coach these? This is gonna be your first couple of private lessons." And I said, "Yeah," and I jumped right on it, and I started building my hours there. It was a slow and steady build, and this goes back to that what I did what I was talking about in my other session as far as grinding out hours and building yourself. I have absolutely no confidence. I mean, I knew what I wanted to do based on like the layout that the club had given me to approach a lesson, but even with that layout, there was no confidence. I had my communication skills were poor. I was I just yeah, it was just just coming up, trying to do the job and do it as best as I can, and just trying to build myself there. So for some time, that's what I did. I think it got to the point where Saturday or maybe Sundays, if I remember correctly, Saturdays. I think it was Saturdays maybe. I would wake up 6 a.m. because I didn't have a car. I had to take the bus at times to get to the tennis club, which is about maybe a 5 mile drive, and I was lucky because my coach at the time he would give me rides from time to time whenever he could. I would wake up at 6 a.m. just for that 7 a.m. lesson. It was for 1 hour, and then at times I would have to head home. At other times, maybe I did have hours afterwards. Most of the time I did have hours afterwards, but I would be there from 7 all the way till 7 at night because I had maybe 3-4 hour gaps in between, and I just obviously couldn't go anywhere. I didn't have a car, so I was there. I did my lessons in the morning, then I did the academy hours, and yeah, I spent I maybe about a couple of years just doing that. Same thing on Sundays. When the Sunday started building up, it was just morning lessons, maybe about 1 or 2. Then it got to the point where I got maybe 6 to 7 hours. So I'd start early in the morning from 9, go all the way till maybe like 4 p.m. or something like that. So that was also a nice build up. But that didn't start right away, right? I started with maybe 1 or 2 hours in the morning, and then it slowly started building up. And when I was a receptionist too, there was times where um, I I would do double shifts. I think I remember this was Thursdays. I think I was with Thursday mornings. I would open up, so I would if I was late, I'd have to Uber or whatever taxi. I think it was taxi, because I don't remember there being Uber at that time. Well, that's how long ago this was. Uber wasn't or at least I didn't know of Uber, but I'm pretty sure it was taxi and or the bus, and I would have to take the bus like it was about a 25-minute drive, more or less. No, maybe less. 20 to 25 minutes, depending on traffic. So the bus would take roughly about 30 to 35 minutes, right? Because I'd stop, pick up people, and blah, blah. So when I was a receptionist, I'd have to wake up really early, catch the bus, and then get there on time to open up. Um, and I mean, the club was cool about this because there were times where I wouldn't be able to get there till like the club had to open up at 7, but I wouldn't be able to get there till like 7:15, 7:30. And they had early birds. They had people that would come in and play tennis at 6 in the morning. So those people came in. Yeah, those people came in at 6 a.m. because the custodian would be there already from I don't know what time, getting things set up. So I had that going on, right? I was receptionist. I had to pull double shifts a few times. So I was there from 7 a.m. till 11:30, and oh man, they were like if I had to close at around 11:30, the bus schedule was 11:42 if I remember. Like that's what the estimation time of arrival was 11:42. So I at 11:30 I try to make sure that everybody had already left, lock up the place, did the count, make sure the register was set for the next person to come in the next day, and I would do that 5-minute run to the bus stop so I wouldn't miss the bus. I think a few times. I remember one time in particular, I missed the bus, and the next one wasn't coming till like an hour later. So I believe, or like 45 minutes later. I want to say an hour later. So like 45 minutes later. So I was there at the bus stop till like 12:30 or something, and then I obviously didn't get home till like 1. Other times, I think one other time I missed it, and I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna walk it home. I walked those that I just didn't want to wait, so I passed by the Starbucks that was nearby, grabbed whatever, some green tea, and then just walked it home. Um, um, yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you didn't have. I mean, this happened sometimes during the rain, during snow. My coach, obviously, he was already done with the rest with his day, so he would obviously go home. I didn't expect him to stay or wait for me. Um, he's probably tired. Um, but I'm grateful that at times he was able to give me a ride. There's this one time. This is on a Saturday. I remember the Saturday because it was a Saturday academy. The academy started, I want to say, we'll say 1. Yeah, because it would go from 1, 2.5 hours, 1 to 3:30, then 3:30 to 5, and then 5 to whatever was another one. Okay. And so the bus came and picked me up around 12:13, 12:15, and it was like a 30-minute drive, so I'd just make it. Uh, I looked it up too. 2.6 miles away, 2.7 miles, almost 3 miles away from the club, the bus broke down, right? So at this point, it's about 12, I would maybe say, I don't even know, like 12, we'll say 12:30, right? Picked me up around 12:15, got to that point, 12:30, or maybe a little bit later. I don't remember. But nonetheless, it broke down. I had to call the club and tell them, look, I might not make it on time because the bus broke down, and I'm whatever this far away. I'm all the way over here, and the response is like, well, I don't know what you're gonna do because we need you here. And then they just hung up, and I was like, what the heck? And then so people were just waiting in the bus to see what was gonna happen. I waited too for a little bit, and then only the gentleman told me that that they're gonna send another bus to pick us up, and I was just like, oh, like Jesus Christ. Maybe 12:35, I ran. And I got there around, it was like at least 5 minutes before the academy started. So I did the 2.7 miles in like 20 minutes, but I ran all of that. It's River Road. I ran all of River Road, and I got to the club, and I got there like 5 minutes. I was like pouring sweat. I went to the restroom. I try to like, I didn't even have an extra shirt. I just try to like wipe my face because I was all sweaty, and I felt so accomplished. I remember that day. I was just like, oh, like I felt really good about myself because I was able to do that. But in retrospect, it was just a really a really a really poor, I would say, call from management at the time, because I still remember that conversation, right? I called them, let them know this happened. They're like, oh, I don't know what you're gonna do, but we need you here, and blah blah. And then they just hang up, and I was just like, so I ran, and I did it, and like I said, like looking at it back now, I was just like, oh man, Alvin, if you only knew better, But again, I mean, I look at it. I think I still look at it at the upside. I was able to do that. I thought that was a pretty good. Um, um, what else is there? There were some holidays. And as a receptionist, there were some holidays, and uh, I would open, but it would be empty until there was a contract court, whatever, around like 4 p.m., and they were there for about 2 hours. So I was there from 8 a.m. all the way to whatever 5 p.m. only for these for one court out of 9 courts at this facility, for only one court to be open. That was unreal. What else? There were times, I had a marathon one time where I did, I think, like 10 and a half hours straight. It was a makeup. There were makeup classes. The end of the year, students that miss classes, they got some makeups at times. And so, you wanted just to bang those out. And I did like 10 and a half hours straight. And then the next day, it was like another 8 to 9 hours straight. Just to, go through the hours. Yeah, it's just and there's so many more that I'm missing out on. Like, after leaving that facility, I would drive like 2 hours to go to a country club. And I would drive an hour and a half to go to another club. And again, also working under my mentor. So to me, and it was only for about an hour and a half, maybe, for both days, or even like 2 hours, all worth it. Paying tolls, doing the whole thing, paying for gas. I never saw it as an issue, right? Just grinding it out. To me, it was like I was getting more out of it than anything. I should be grateful. I also worked for another place where I had to travel to multiple locations. Every day it was somewhere different, and when it was indoors, it would be indoors at like a police station. Like that, it was kind of like that. Like it would be at a gym at a police station where you set up the small nets and do a lesson there, right? That's for the winter. The summer, outdoors at some local park, at a different park every day. Again, bringing the equipment, building putting up the setup, working obviously with other colleagues as well. That was another experience. That wasn't too. I don't think that was too bad. It was tedious, but it wasn't too bad. Where is there another one? Again, there was all these things were just 7 days a week. So every day was maybe somewhere different, but it was just doing things 7 days a week. I never really stopped. During that time, I was also a bartender at night. So I got to build communication skills there, mixology, if anything. Got to do things that are fun. Bartender, bar back, and security. I did all three. So that's a completely different realm, but always grinding, putting in the hours into things that I thought were worth doing just to build myself professionally. Oh man, I think there's so many. I know there's so many more stories of that I'm missing out on, but Jesus, that's 18 minutes of stories. All right, I'm gonna call it quits there, just because I don't like making these too long. I don't like making the stories too long, and I also don't like making the sessions too long. I like to keep them brief and then move on. All right. All right. I'll talk again soon. I'll have more stories. The more I think about these things, the more will pop up, and hopefully, if I think of any more, I'll keep adding to them. All right.